Yeah, I think we should do it that way. The hell with the real noise.
Okay, Pete, don't worry about the sound thing. We're just going to do it that way.
We got this, because when we do breaking news, I do...
You're right. All right.
So you want to be the bump of the bum guy?
I'll do the bump, but you got to point to me when we're doing it.
I'll do it. Yo, what's up? It's Chris Sims. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed is here with all his fancy noises and tricks that he always has. Nobody is the better guy than Ahmed Fareed. We got some football. It's Pick 6 Wednesday. We're back at it. What's up, man? How are you?
What's going on?
You doing good?
You know, people ask, do you ever kind of have meetings about what to do in the pod? And I'm like, yeah, we do all the time on the pod. We decided in front of everybody.
Yeah, right. No, it's we're actually very raw with our pod. Yeah. I mean, we kind of discuss topics we're going to hit on, and then I dive in deep. I send you notes. We don't really talk about it. Mm-hmm. Pete organizes a little bit. You see the pictures of my notes, and we go go from there. And
you taught me that. Save it for the pod.
Save it for the pod. Thank you. I appreciate it. I taught you that. Thank you very much. And welcome to Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Lowe's. I don't want to forget them, okay?
Nope.
Lowe's knows home improvement. We know that. They've improved my home.
They have.
They did. They were there that day. They actually did improve a few things, let alone they paid me a check for it that helped improve my phone, my house as well.
Improve your home and bank account.
Yeah, exactly.
Both of those things. We do thank Lowe's each and every time. We also thank our viewers and our listeners.
Yes.
A lot of viewers, though, on YouTube. And
seems like it's swaying more that way.
And we've made a concerted effort, too, now to show some love back to all the people who comment on YouTube. So if you're one of the commenters on YouTube, keep doing that. If you haven't built up the courage to do it yet, we encourage you to do it.
Yeah,
because we will show some of the best comments. And in the chat this past Wednesday, one of the big topics of conversation was one of the best rivalries on this podcast, you versus the desk.
I can see. What are we talking about? I thought this was a football podcast. I'm sorry. I don't know. I didn't realize I do it, but I can see that it's obviously driving people crazy.
They all are. Look at this. Okay, so Silent Toxic says Chris going ham on that desk.
Man.
So I like this one, though, from Connor McGinnis. Chris did better in the first half of the video, not hitting or tapping the table, but in the second half, fell apart, went back to his old ways. That was pretty good scouting.
I think we need a mic stand that goes on the floor from at Bang a Dub.
Yep.
And then, what was it? Chris Bragg, 3681 says Chris needs a cushion pad for his fingertips. Maybe that, too, because that might be the other thing. I do this a lot, and I think maybe that is people are thinking it's banging, and it's really me just playing imaginary piano, I guess, as I think. It's one of the things I do. Yeah. I'll do my best to not do it too much today, but I can't help when I get emotional, and you know me.
You're right.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I get all riled up, and I don't think. I black out for a minute.
So we have Tom Popple, who takes care of all the technical equipment for us. He's been around here forever.
Right.
He's always in the building.
Yes.
Maybe we just get you a pad, like the one commenter said. We just put something beneath you,
like
so
a computer mouse pad.
You can continue to pound and finger tap. We just don't hear it.
We'll figure something out. We got to figure. Or I just start hitting you a little bit, which I've been known to do.
The mic won't pick that up.
Yeah,
so for the good of the pod, I will
until you say
that.
ow.
Right, exactly. All right, so we'll continue to work on that. Actually, I have nothing to work on. That's just all Chris.
No, well, you got to coach me a little bit and say, hey, you're banging a little too much, okay? You're the bump of the dumb guy, and now you got to be the, hey, you're banging on the table guy, too.
Yeah,
okay?
I'll point to you again there.
Yeah, point to me.
So you know.
Right.
So we got the Pick 6 here. We got 6 topics you helped us create there, you listeners and watchers out there. I got the Buzz Watch. Who could create the buzz?
I like it.
This week, we got 2 stats and a lie. We're bringing that back.
One of my favorites.
But let's start with this. Let's start with the rookie quarterbacks, because there was a pretty good performance from 2 of them this past week, and actually 3. Caleb Williams threw for over 300 yards. We won't talk about him. We will talk first about Jayden Daniels, his coming out party. Paul Sartz begins this by saying some love for Jayden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury. 2 games without punting. Game plan yesterday was amazing, executed by a superstar in the making. So you went deep dive on their offense, on Jayden Daniels, because it was an amazing performance.
Had to watch it. I mean, come on. I picked the Bengals to be my Super Bowl team. Here they are 0-3. I thought that was going to be the night they turned it around, right? So that is big news. I mean, what a weekend for LSU, first off. Let me just say that. Between those 2 quarterbacks playing, Malik Neighbors, I'm missing somebody else, too, that was in the shuffle in my brain. But, damn, I mean, LSU does have some stars that are special around the NFL. I think our Paul Sartz, I mean, we're going to give him love, and I think he hits on a really good point, too. And a guy that I've been critical critical of in the past, and we'll see if this continues to go in this direction. Cliff Kingsbury, right? Definitely being a little more patient with the run, definitely changing formations and looks a little bit more. And when you heard me, I used to complain a little bit in Arizona, right? So that to me has been encouraging from Cliff Kingsbury. It's like he went back to the lab with, the year off and all that, and it's a little like, wait, I gotta self-scout thyself here a little bit, as we always say, and change up what I do. And so I give him a lot of credit. Now, hopefully that continues, right? We've seen this in other years where then we get to like week 7 or 8 and I go, there's nothing else to bring along with it.
They can add more too, because I was looking at the motion and the pre-snap movement.
Yeah.
Washington's still amongst
They're very stagnant.
the lower.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's after snap they've been doing some more creative things.
They do. And even before the snap, at least with formations that are different, where I'll just go, okay, I don't remember Cliff being in this formation this much or doing that. And maybe the motions will pick up too as the rookie quarterback continues to get more and more comfortable. By far, Jayden Daniels has been the most consistent rookie so far, right? Game 1 wasn't great, but it was solid. It was good. Game 2 was really good. I'm not going to say it was great, but it was really good, right? Consistently moved the ball down the field. They had to settle for field goals a bunch. And then I would say Game 3 was great. I would put it in the great category. They ran the ball to a degree early on in the football game, but after that, they kind of just ran the ball to kind of keep Cincinnati honest, and it was him and his throwing and his calm demeanor, whether it's just the game in general or people around him in the pocket or big moments. I mean, he's unflappable. That's what I like about him more than anything. Let alone, we're just seeing what we talked about in the draft process, this smooth, consistent throwing motion that he has that allows him to be incredibly accurate, and then, of course, he makes a few runs we know that are always special too.
It almost seems like he's put no pressure on himself.
I mean,
while he's playing.
So he's really talented, okay? They got some weapons at receiver. Kingsbury has done some things to change on offense a little bit. But I also think here's one of the most, I think, under-the-radar aspects of his success, okay? It is the fact that he is running the same offense that he ran in college. And now will that continue and get better and better as we go? I don't know. We'll see. But I certainly think that's given him an advantage of comfort zone, right? Early in the year to go, wait, I know all these rules. I had the same formations, right? His offensive coordinator in college is the guy that's at Notre Dame right now, Mike Dunbreck, and he's a spread offense guy. That's why you kind of hear me with Notre Dame. I'm like, run the ball more. You're not LSU with all these receivers and Jayden Daniels. That's not who you are, right? But that's the offense they ran. So it's very similar to Kingsbury, and I think that's helped him in his transition, let alone he's just a baller. He really is. And like we talked about at the time, most drafts, I think he is the number 1 pick of the draft. And it started on the first touchdown drive with a really, really special play that I believe we have some dots of the show on the 4th and 2.
This is the first drive, 4th and 2.
Yep.
This is the Luke McCaffrey 30-yard reception was the result of this play.
This is where Screenshots. Okay, cool. Screenshots are even better. I like this. But here's the play. They're basically now my issue would be this is some one of these, I don't love Cliff Kingsbury plays here. Very basic. You're going to see 3 slants on the top of the screen there. And again, I think we want to know what's wrong with the NFL right now. A lot of these offenses got to stop when it's 3rd and 2, or in this case, 4th and 2. We run 3-yard routes. All the defenses in football are all over that stuff. Right? They do that constantly. The Jaguars are a team that we'll talk about a little later. Every time it's 3rd and 9, you know how many yards they run around? 10. Yeah. When it's 3rd and 6, they run 7. And so it's like these guys are watching film. If I'm dumbass Chris Sims picking it up at home, the defensive coordinators are picking it up. So attack down the field. If you played this defense right here and you're watching on YouTube, Cincinnati's playing towards the line of scrimmage. If they played like this on 1st and 2nd down, offenses would go, I can't believe they're going to do this to us. This is disrespectful. And then it gets to 4th down and teams go, I just want to throw it 3 yards and get the 1st down. And it's like, no. What about your big-time quarterback and your $1 million receivers and all that? Let's go. So here's the play. Double slants. Okay, the ball's supposed to come out quick. You see it here. Now go to the next picture, Pete, when you get a second. Okay, so there you go, right? We got a curl route on the backside for about 7 or 8 yards, and he's not done running the route. But you could see the 3 receivers at top. Am I making my point clear?
Yep.
It's 4th and 2, and they've all run 3-yard routes, right? And Cincinnati's all over it. Look at them. They got a guy for the inside. Everybody's going to get passed off. There's nothing there. Most quarterbacks would panic, right here and go, oh, no, they're all over this play. I need to run. I need to get out of here. Now, the other thing that's great about Washington right now, and this is my surprise of their football team, their O-line's better than I expected. I mean, the pass protection, right, is phenomenal here. So here's a 3-step drop, but nobody's open. So now he's going to sit here, humpity-hum, let's go to the next shot, right? And he's still sitting here in the pocket. Luke McCaffrey plays football. And see, this is when you hear people say, like, hey, he's got great instincts or he knows how to play the game. And, you could tell he grew up playing football in his backyard and all that, right? He runs the slant route and he's like, wait, it didn't come to me on rhythm. Let me kind of readjust here. Oh, wait, there's a linebacker here. Let me go over the top of him because I know there's a window on the other side. He continues to run. And Jayden Daniels hits him like this was supposed to be the play. It's amazing. He hits it in rhythm. And I'm going, what was that play when I'm watching on TV? I'm like, I don't get it. And, of course, I turned on the film yesterday, see it. Great throw on the money, hits McCaffrey. He comes out the backside of the play there and almost scores a touchdown.
A couple of rookies right there, figuring it out and playing like instincts like you
That's
mentioned.
where value of those guys come in. Like guys like McCaffrey, right? The Lad McConkeys of the world. They're not going to be first-round picks, but their value in the NFL is greater than where they're drafted because of their instincts, their feel. They can read coverages on the run, and they're short area quickness guys. McCaffrey's showing that he belongs, and he's really the perfect slot guy in the NFL, as we all know.
So there was a 3rd and 7 late in the game. Washington needed it, and they didn't go with an 8-yard route. They went 27-yard touchdown over the top to Terry McLaurin. This is one where we have the dots for.
Okay, cool.
And so
cool.
Next Gen Stats also has a stat on this one. So that touchdown pass had a completion probability of 10.3%. That is the most improbable touchdown of this early season so far, and the most improbable completion by the Commanders in the Next Gen Stats era.
Wow. We got big things popping in Washington. I like it.
Yeah, when Jayden got there, that's what he wanted to do.
So they're basically back to like the Doug Williamate days is the last time we've seen throws this, back in like late 80s, 90s, right?
Next Gen Stats goes back to 2016.
Okay,
perhaps.
so I don't remember. I mean, maybe Mark Brunell had some in the mid-2000s there. But the Bengals, they couldn't get there, and this is a concern. And this is in my notes too. The Bengals pass rush is concerning, right? The only guy that looks like he ever shows up is Hendrickson, and he doesn't even show up as much as you'd like. Okay, so Lou Anarumo is kind of cornered in this situation where in big plays he's kind of got a blitz because he's like, wait, we can't cover for 6 seconds all the time, and then he's going to run and we got to cover for another 3 seconds. So he decides to bring the blitz, right? And again, this guy kind of knowing the offense, knowing where his protection is, knowing who's going to be free coming off the edge, he realizes that, and he's got McLaurin running a little stutter go almost. He kind of gives a stutter that just makes Dax Hill kind of pause for a second, and then he turns it on. And the thing I love about Jayden Daniels and his 2 deep balls in this game, this one and the one earlier to McLaurin that got him down to the 2 or 3 yard line, he throws the deep balls high, right? He throws it high and out there, and he lets the receiver run and get it, who's more comfortable in those situations than the DB. That's why they're playing DB, right? Yeah. And this ball was a dot. I mean a dot. Because the coverage wasn't that great. There wasn't a ton of room on the sideline, and he dropped that right in there to really close the door on the Bengals and shatter their early season here.
Yeah, if you were to tell me that you thought the 2 best thrown balls of the whole weekend were Daniels 2 to McLaurin, that one long one, and then this 27-yard, I'd be
it's up there.
That probably it could be right.
Yeah.
And I like at the end of the game where Jayden Daniels, he gave full credit. He goes, all credit to God.
Yeah.
And then next question, they asked about that touchdown. He goes, all credit to Terry McLaurin.
Who's a little bigger than God in his life.
Is he calling Terry God?
God's a big deal, but your number 1 receiver is even bigger when you're in the NFL.
You got to make sure both of them are happy.
You're right. Yeah,
each and every game.
Definitely.
This is coming from JD's burner. He says, Jayden Daniels is miles ahead of Caleb Williams and should have been first on Chris Sims' rookie quarterback rankings. You were not hot take enough for JD's burner.
Nope. Listen, I'm not going to give up on what I've seen from Caleb Williams in my studies there. Jayden Daniels is really good.
To your credit, you were higher on him when there was a lot of talk that it was Drake May was clearly the number 2 quarterback in his draft class. You're like, no, it's Jayden Daniels.
Yeah. I made that clear. And we put him in a tier by himself at number 2, right? But again, let's not jump the shark or be a little crazy here. It's early on. Yeah. And again, so far, Jayden Daniels' support system has been much better than Caleb Williams. I mean, plain and simple. I would tell you this offense is better. They have more formations. They're able to run the ball a little bit on a weekly basis. It's a system he knows, right? So I think those are the things that benefit him. But I still, there's a lot that I like about Caleb Williams, but there's a lot of team issues there too. So, but either way, I got no problem you rubbing it in my face for now out there.
I don't think that's an L. We're not going to get.
No, I'm not taking an L.
No.
It's just he's looked great. He's been great so far, and I love that he is playing great. The other thing too that I think is, I talked about the blitz pickups, the fact that they're really patient with the run and all of that, I think is also only going to make his quarterback design runs that much more effective. You know, they're doing a good job of just mixing them in every now and then in big moments. They get down toward the goal line, fake the run. They've been consistent with the run. Oh man, wait, we forgot about the quarterback keeping the ball around the edge. He's wide open there. The other thing teams are going to have to continue to do here as we go along is he hasn't really been spied a lot yet. Cincinnati opted not to spy him, and it cost them a few times on third downs and stuff like that. And I think that's going to continue. You're going to see a trend there eventually where teams are going to go, wait, we can't do this because we can't get off the field on 3rd and 6 because he runs for if we cover everybody, he runs for a first down every time. And the way they're protecting, he's got enough plays to go there. But I think those are the big points, and I love his play so far. He's been absolutely phenomenal.
So flip it over to the other side.
Yeah.
How worried are you about your Super Bowl pick?
Yeah, I'm a little worried for sure. Like some teams that are 0-3, I just go, it's over. They're out of it. This one, I would just go, I'm panicked. I'm not going to say it's over or they're out of it. Yeah. But what I'm concerned about is, we've talked about this, the lack of big people on their D-line, and that was before their 2 starters got hurt. So them now not being there, okay, they're at a real lack of big people, let alone they don't have much depth. So that hurts them there too. Then the pass rushers are nothing special off the edge right now, and they're not popping a whole lot. Like I said, Hendricks is the only guy from time to time that kind of shows up. So that's an issue. And that's where I think I get concerned more than anything. And I think also because they can't rush the passer and do all of that, I do think Lou Anarumo and company are going to have to kind of readjust how they play a little bit. They're not a huge disguise team, and I think that's something they're going to have to play with a little bit. They're going to have to use trickeration. They're going to have to try to fool some people here, because if they just play people straight up, where they've been used to being able to, hey, kind of line up and what they do, and they might have a creative wrinkle in what they do and all of that, they've been talented enough to get it done, really, for the most part. But last year, we're seeing that was not the issue, and this year is the same thing here, and they're going to have to readjust their attack a little bit.
I found a stat on that defense. They have rushed 7 or more.
Cool.
12% of the time. That is most in the NFL. There are 18 NFL teams that have not done that one time this year, and they do it 12% of the time.
When they rush 4 in the game, for the most part, and I know you saw this in my notes, I wrote the Bengals front 4 can't even get close.
Right.
Like not like, oh, they're almost there, or the pocket. Like, it's not even close. It's like, hey, I look at 1 and I pat the ball, and I look at 2 and I don't even have to shuffle or anywhere. I'm going to pat the ball again. And, number 3, all right, maybe I have to step up or move here, but, I'm still pretty clean. I can throw. I mean, that's really what it was throughout the day. And that's where it's concerning. It's the D-line that's the most concerning for them right now. Offensively, hey, come on. They did a lot of good things the other night.
Sure.
I mean, damn, they outgained Washington by 100 yards. So I'm not there. I think their offense is on the right track. The defense is by far the biggest concern with the football team, and we'll see where that goes.
And a red flag, they're only 4.5-point favorites against the Carolina Panthers coming up this weekend.
Well, with the way the defense is playing, of course. I mean, how could they not be? I get that totally. And with Andy Dalton, the way he played and all that, I mean, we can't sit here and say there's a given anything with the Bengals right now.
All right, before we move on to the next quarterback, I do want to just play a quick snippet of a song that I heard on the radio when I was driving in here. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Here's what I heard driving into Stamford today.
What is this?
My Super Bowl team, what is wrong? The Cincinnati Bengals make me hit the bong. Ahmed, how did you know? The Bengals have no flow. Now I see what you mean. They're not a playoff team. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So it's like it's gotten that bad.
It's gotten that bad. They're writing songs and telling you you're right and seeing what you saw, huh? Damn.
I believe I have.
What singer was that? How did they get on the radio?
Some boy band. I think it was some boy band sync or maybe one of the few.
So you put this in AI and you're one of the things and they made up a song?
I put in the lyrics.
Right.
And then there are a few different versions it spits out.
Okay.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I was telling Pete this.
Yeah.
I took the family. My son wanted to go to Olive Garden.
Right.
It was like really, he loved breadsticks. He wanted to do that. So I went into this thing and I made lyrics about Olive Garden, spits out some songs. We were jamming to those on our way to Olive Garden that whole day. It is one of my favorite things in the world right now.
Apparently. That was well done, though.
Thank you.
Really good.
We'll make it a theme.
Really good.
And hopefully it's not always just, pumping me up.
Yeah,
every
I
time,
like when it is pumping you up.
I control the lyrics, so maybe they will be.
You do. You're the songwriter.
They're not dead yet. But it's getting later.
But they got a low pulse.
Bengals.
I'll say that the pulse is low.
Yes.
And the defibrillator better be charged up a little bit. That's for sure.
Well, we thought the Denver Broncos may be dead, right? But here comes Bo Nix, and there they go.
Right.
Plug and play 16 as we transition over to another rookie quarterback who played really well as the Bucs rolled the Bucs. Plug and play 16 says, "Hey Chris, Ahmed and company, damn okay. Sean Payton and Bo Nix, let's F and go. Showed great glimpse into the future of what this offense can be, and in my opinion, Bo Nix is in the first half with the best half of quarterback rookie." I screwed that up there, but he thought it was the best half he had seen. Now, that was before Jayden Daniels played, too. So
it was the first half. It was the best rookie half he had seen yet, is what he was saying there, basically.
Correct.
Yeah, and he does deserve a damn okay.
So you did a deeper look at what they did offensively with Bo. What impressed you the most about what he and Sean Payton did in that game?
Well, a little bit of like something we've talked about, right, where I think there's this little psychology of, and I don't think it's necessarily right, where it's let's be simple and run these simple concepts and things he's comfortable with, right? And it's just too basic, and it's really doing a disservice to a lot of these young quarterbacks, right? You've heard me say that. I've been saying that for a while, and especially this year. This was a game where I will say with him where they opened it up a little bit. They attacked. That it started from the get-go. I mean, from the get-go, they said, wait, we have it's one-on-one. They said, let's stop worrying about trying to find a 5-yard completion over the middle or something like that. He's one-on-one. Throw him a go route or his back shoulder. Read it as you drop back. Throw the appropriate play. The second play, a deep play-action pass that attacks. Now, he doesn't throw it deep. He goes to the check down. But nonetheless, the first 2 plays of the game sent a warning shot to Todd Bowles and company like, hey, if you think you're going to do all this blitzing and stuff today, we got something for you. We're coming if you think you're going to play that aggressive. And I think it set a tone, and it got Bo Nix in a rhythm early and made him feel better. And like I always talk about, when you attack, in a lot of ways, it's easier for the quarterback. When you're going, let me give a bunch of all 5 receivers 6-yard routes, it's hard. There's no holes. There's no windows. The throw's got to be precise, or if the ball gets tipped in the air or anything, it's intercepted. This gives it, opens the field, allows the quarterback to see. And then what I always say with the downfield throws, especially off play action and stuff like that, it gives the quarterback room to move and run too. And he's a very good scrambler and all of that. They attacked on offense for the first time this year with Bo Nix. It was the first time they had a pass-first mindset in any football game. That was the big thing. And then, the third pass was a go route, down the field, attacking. So there we go. I'm talking about the first 3 plays of the game were like, screw the rookie quarterback. We're coming out today. We know you're Todd Bowles. You're going to blitz. You're probably going to play man-to-man, which, I don't always love doing that to a rookie quarterback. And they paid for it. And he was on the money and totally in control of his game throughout the day.
Yeah, you wrote down that you thought Sean Payton had a pretty good idea of what Todd Bowles was going to do. You mentioned man-to-man.
I wish that's something
blitzing.
I would have hit on a little bit more in my weekly breakdowns and stuff like that. Just because it's I think a thing I need to remember at times a little bit more when I pick games too, to go, wait, coordinators, history, how they match up. Sean Payton has shown the ability to kind of know how to crack the code of Todd Bowles, and I wish I would have thought about that before that one because, he was all over it.
What were some of the other things that Bo Nix was doing? Because you talked about in your notes the double moves, the downfield concepts. What he did specifically with a little bit more expansive playbook.
I think that he made a little effort of, the double moves, and again, the attacking theme is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Keeping people in to protect a little bit more than you might see normally, right? They protected well, and I think he had a good feel for also into that discussion of Bowles of like, ooh, I know him. He likes to blitz in these situations. This is the time I'm going to call the pass protection to keep the extra guy in and do that, right? He threw the ball really well, but a lot of double moves and downfield concepts. Because, again, I think in the first 2 games, if you're watching film, you're going, wait, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, the ball's out, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the ball's out, right? And it's always like a 10-yard out, a 5-yard slant, a 5-yard out, a 6-yard sticky route, like all of that type of stuff. And he's probably going, wait, Todd Bowles is usually aggressive man-to-man. These corners are probably going, wait, we're going to get a chance to jump some of these short routes as the game goes on. And he backed them off right away. And, when you do that and you hit 1 or 2 throws of doing that, it opens up everything else. Because think if you're a corner, right? Early in the game, I've seen on film they throw it short, and then all of a sudden they come out and they fake throwing it short and go deep, right? So now you're a little scarred. So now the next 2 drives, they might throw it short, but you're a little hesitant to break on it because you're like, oh, they kind of got me the last time. I better be careful here and not over-reading this or being too aggressive. Yep. And that's what I felt like they really did. But let's see. The other thing I wanted to talk about, too, I mean, his arm is really good when he uses his legs. I think you saw that. Man, his arm has sneaky power that I don't think he gets credit for. But the aggressive downfield concepts, the double moves, it opened up the field. And Nix was good and trustworthy. He didn't force balls. I think throughout the day, there was one throw that I looked at to go, don't throw that. That's a little too tight or stupid. But other than that, that's going to get Sean Payton to get him in the trust tree to go, wait, I can call these aggressive plays, and no, he's just not going to be Johnny Meathead and be like, I got to throw the bomb, right? And that, I think, is going to be important for them going forward.
So I would anticipate the running game is going to get a little bit better because Javonte Williams a talented guy and McLaughlin talented, but they got stuffed basically. And it was your Robin Hood of Tyler Beatty, who went off for 9 carries and 70 yards.
Beatty was impressive. There's 2 things about Beatty that really jumped out. It's the vision. I mean, incredible vision. I'd say he's got an advantage over the other 2 guys in that department. Wow. And then short area body control, footwork, whatever you want to call it there. But the ability to kind of like, wait, cut back. I see the cut back, and all of a sudden now I got to like jump hop to the right, jump hop back to the left, and make another cut to the left and get through that hole, and I get through the run, right? So it's stuff like that I thought was really good by him. They got a 3-headed monster at running back is what that kind of confirmed to me.
I mean, Beatty came out of nowhere. He had 1 carry all of last year. He had 1 carry this year coming into the game. He had 9.
I don't know what it was today. I was going to look it up, and I kind of forgot because I just went on to the next game and the next film. Did McLaughlin, I wonder, did he get hurt? Did something happen there to why he started to get the carries? But either way, it looked like very comfortable in that role. And to your point, I think you're exactly right. The fact that they attacked, right? This film will put teams on notice now to be like, oh, crap, like we can't just play like, short, intermediate passing game. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the big thing. And it's also going to be like, oh, crap, the quarterback's got a little confidence here, and Sean Payton's got some confidence in him there too. So we better be careful about being too aggressive on defense or attacking that way. And I think it's going to lead to, you might see some softer defenses to where now they can get the running game going and start to tie it all together. Big win for the Broncos on the road. Awesome job by Bo Nix. Awesome job by Sean Payton in saying, wait, we got to attack here a little bit. I'm being too careful, and I'm not helping this kid out enough by doing that.
Will they have a plan for the Robert Saleh and the New York Jets defense? They are 7.5-point underdogs in that game.
Well, this is going to be rough. I mean, we know how good this D is.
How confident are you?
Yeah,
if you're Bo Nix, I'm saying, it's like you go, you got that confidence.
He's going to go in with confidence, yes, but it's going to be a different struggle this week. And this is a game where big plays will not be easy, right? Hopefully they can attack, but it's one of those games when you play this defense, you're happy if your stat line is 20 for 26 for 220 yards. It's not going to be that way. This is going to be a chip away type of game. You can't hold the ball too long. You'll get strip sack fumbled. They don't let you throw the ball down the field a whole lot. So you got to take a lot of precise, great decision 6 and 7 yard throws. That's how you move the ball against the Jets. And we'll see if he has the discipline and Sean Payton has some schemes to dial it up and expose the Jets that way.
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to bet against the Broncos because that's been a trend in the NFL this year, is that the underdogs have been quite successful.
They really have.
Over to DraftKings right now, NFL underdogs of 5.5 points or more this season are 14-2 against the spread, and they have won 10 of those games outright, 10-6 outright. So here, I think we have the most recent ones. It was the Commanders at Cincinnati. That was a 7.5-point spread.
I know.
They went outright. Giants beating the Browns. That was almost a touchdown line. So the one loss from the past week was the Patriots getting blown out by the Jets. But every other heavy underdog won.
It's certainly a thing. 6 points in the NFL is a lot, and it's still early season to where teams are not themselves yet or finding their way or whatever it is. Early season mistakes as well go into that. But the league is so competitive. It's incredible. And as I sit there and picked my games last Wednesday night, one of the things I looked at, and my wife was like, why are you taking so long, right? Because we're sitting on the couch, the Yankees game's on, I'm kind of looking at notes and whatever else. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I picked enough upsets. I mean, it was literally my thought, and then I chickened out and didn't switch some of them, right? But, yeah, it definitely makes you think. And I don't really have an answer for that as far as why. I think with some of these, right, some of these teams have flaws that are bigger than we all realize. The public, the sports books, all of that. Whether it's Cincinnati's defense, it was like, oh, no, wait, they are bad. Oh, shit. Oh, whoa, there's an issue there. Wait, Cleveland? Oh, yeah, Deshaun Watson is not good, and their offense is not good. Oh, no. Okay, so, there's issues throughout there. The 49ers one was still, to me, the most mind-blowing of all.
Yeah, I can't believe
it felt like they were dominating the football game.
So here are some of the things you'll have to consider this week. The Patriots, the biggest underdog, plus 10. I don't see them losing to the 49ers there. But the one on the bottom of this list, you'll be at with Pete. Giants, Dallas. I'm going to call it right now. I don't make picks.
Yeah.
I think the Giants win that game outright.
I mean, we have a chance. There's no doubt. I'm a little surprised that the line's that high. I mean, the Giants' D-line is a force. Okay, that's the first thing I can tell you. The second thing is the Giants' O-line they're formidable this year. Right, you're seeing Devin Singletary has holes to run through.
Yeah,
right. Daniel Jones goes through some periods of the game where you go, whoa, he's not getting his head knocked off every time he drops back. So that's where I look at it and go, no, they definitely have a fighting chance against the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not sure who I'm going to pick in that one, but yeah, that should be a good one for sure. And I'm with you. I mean, the Patriots 10 points is a lot, but I don't see them upsetting San Francisco. I don't see that.
This tweet coming from Pete Demilitis out there. He goes, I don't know how many days I would sacrifice of my lifespan for the Giants to beat the Cowboys this Thursday night, but I know it wouldn't be 0.
Wow.
So
okay.
He's willing to die earlier for a Giants win.
I like that.
In week 4 of 2024.
A few days, who cares? It doesn't matter. I mean, I've sacrificed years for fun. I mean, for fun, not even for the Giants winning.
Totally.
Just
against
fun.
the Cowboys.
I'm just like, I'm smoking and drinking a lot, and I'm a little crazy in certain times of the year, and it's definitely not helping. But I'm more of a quality over quantity guy.
Yeah, who needs to live till 65 anyway? We're fine. It's been a good run. DraftKings
65 is a little early. All right, I would like to last
book
longer than that.
Is the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the app and use promo code UNBUTTONED when you signed up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
All right, so we got to diagnose a problem.
Yeah, we
What's
do.
wrong with Trevor Lawrence?
Right.
And the Eagles defense figured out a way to slow down the Saints offense. You looked into the tape for both of those. We'll talk about that when we come back. For another season, DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Sims Pick'em pool. You can pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool each and every week, Chris.
Download the DraftKings app, click on Pools tab, and enter the Florio and Sims free $1,000 Pick'em pool to make your picks.
All right, so you can do that right now. Now, we come into this podcast, we don't know exactly what we're going to talk about. We want the viewers and the homies to have some input as well. And so Petway had a request.
All right, what up,
Trevor
Petway?
Lawrence's recent struggles with turnovers and why the offense is struggling in general. So he was the generational talent that you said, I'll pump the brakes on.
Yeah.
He's got
I never was in that one.
There's some flaws in this guy's game. There's some question marks. He's not a slam dunk, can't miss prospect. And we have seen that. It seemed like a couple years ago maybe he was on the way to being that.
Yeah, 2 years ago I thought, okay.
Right?
Yes.
But now, certainly not.
Not right now, especially.
What is wrong?
And we've seen him fall into these little, he's had peaks and valleys in his career for sure. And it is a little concerning with where we are at this point of our career. You would think we've kind of settled into what we are, who we are as a player, right? All of that. I think also, you'd like to see him maybe be a better leader, maybe a more emotional leader at times, maybe like take the burden of the team on a little bit at times too.
So
like,
yeah, let's do that. Let's go into your notebook then, because
cool.
I think this is what you detailed. Chris or Pete has taken a screenshot of your notebook, and so that everyone can see your cursive writing, which actually is quite legible. There are just some words every once in a while.
I get going too fast at times, and then I just, because I'm trying to work and watch and write it fast, so I don't sit there and break, for 2 minutes as I write down, and I can get a little sloppy. But here you go.
So a couple things. You were pleading with him. Show some emotion, please. And above that, he says, you say he is playing like a robot.
Yeah, playing like a robot. Where did the guy who started taking over games 2 years ago on the playoff run go? Where did that guy go? Where, they were down to Baltimore late and came back and he carried the team on his shoulders, or beat the Cowboys in Jacksonville, if you remember, and made some big-time plays late in the football game, okay? So yeah, I want that. He's being paid like that, and I think he has the skills to do that, right? So that's the problem. Don't have to be stupid, but love to force the issue a little bit, okay? Yeah, there comes a time in the game where it's like, oh, crap, they're rolling. They got us going here. I got to flip the momentum. I got to do something here to kind of change that. And, that's the thing where I'd like to see him be a little more aggressive, or being a little bit more of like willing to take and shoulder the load that way. And so that definitely bothers me a little.
It speaks to a guy who has lost some confidence.
Yes.
Now, why? So is this on Trevor? Are there bad habits that he has picked up? Is this on the offense not putting him in the best situation to succeed?
Well, the first just like blanket statement I want to make is that, like, I did check the rule book, and their defense is allowed to stop somebody, right? I know we're going to talk about the quarterback and all of that, but I mean, come on. The defense is a joke right now. A joke. I mean, that was like 7-on-7 practice for Buffalo the other night. I mean, we'll go down the field, we'll do this. We'll go down the field, we'll do that. We'll go down the field and do this and that. And then the next time we'll just figure out what we want to do, because we're going to go down the field and you can't stop it. So that's horrible. All right, but we've hit on this a little bit with the Jags before. They're not very creative. They're really not. It's not very aggressive on top of that. So that is the first thing to where they are a sticks team, as I talk about. It's 3rd and 6. They all run 7 yards. It's 3rd and 9. They all run 10 yards. Buffalo was all over that crap, let alone it's too West Coasty, as you always hear me say. So guys like Sean McDermott are all over some of that stuff. I mean, all over it. They can't run all that effectively, and their running game is, it's basic. It's one of the most basic running schemes in football. They never have a run scheme where I go, ooh, that was cool. It's never anything in the category of a Shanahan type run, or Baltimore when they get going, or McVay, or any of that. Nothing. It's inside zone. It's outside zone. That's all they run. That's it. That's not enough in the NFL, right? They start the game off and it's 3 curls on the first play. 3 curls? That's what we had all week to come out with the first play, and we picked, hey guys, run 10 yards and turn around. Woo! Let's pay everybody millions of dollars for that great game plan. Okay, so that's an issue. That's not even getting into Trevor Lawrence yet, as you know. All right? So I don't love that. I will say on the first drive, you saw this in my notes too. How do they not call it? Trevor Lawrence almost lost a knee. We're in the era, if you blow in the quarterback's ear, it gets called roughing the passer. He almost lost a leg, and they were like, don't worry. You didn't lose it. You're okay. No penalty. That was shocking. I will say that in his defense. All right? Play action pass game. Basic as basic as basic. I mean, like, let's run a play action pass and send 2 people out, and they don't cross, or we can't play them off to each other. It's actually just pick one side or the other. One guy ran a comeback. The other guy ran a comeback. Whoa! Man, Sean McDermott must have been up all night trying to figure that out. Man. So that's my problem with that. They do nothing to set plays up, right? You saw, like I wrote, hey, at one point, they got a wheel route going down the sideline where he throws it to Travis Etienne. Okay, great, but you haven't done anything to make them think you're going to run something shorter with Travis Etienne. So why would they come up and go, oh, no, they're going to throw the 5-yard out route and bite on that as he wheels up the sideline? I mean, so there's just nothing of tying together, aggressiveness, all of that bothers me, let alone Trevor Lawrence is not playing all that great and making things happen on top of that.
It's all bad. There's really not one good thing you can point to with the Jaguars, who are now 0-3 on the season. We did see Mac Jones come in at the end of the game.
Yep.
Didn't do a whole lot. I mean, do you think they seriously would consider a change there?
No, not right now. No, they're not. I mean, especially on the heels of giving him $54 million a year, right? Yeah. So this is where, again, the politics become part of the problem, because it's like, oh, if you bench him, all they're going to hear is, why the hell did you give him $54 million then? What the hell were you guys doing? You should know better than anybody. Yeah. Why, right? So that's where they're stuck. And again, this goes into our conversation of all the times of, like, again, why did you have to pay any of these guys so much money? Why? Like, nobody, like, the jury's out on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you're telling me if they offered him $44 million a year, he wouldn't have took it? 42? Right? That's where I don't understand these teams right now. Again, at the quarterback position, I'd be like, wait, no, Mahomes is here. Josh Allen should be right underneath it. Joe Burrow should be somewhere, and Lamar should be there. And then there should be a line of demarcation where it's like, no, there's a drop-off, right? Matthew Stafford should probably be up there in that range too. But then there should be like, no, you guys aren't in that class, and we're going to have a drop-off. But it just keeps like, hey, you're somewhere in the top half of the league. You get to be the highest-paid quarterback. And so I have no pity for these teams who continue to do this stupid shit.
You wonder, okay, so say the quarterback doesn't take it, right? You're like, we'll give you $40 million instead of $50 million. You're like, okay, I'm not taking it. Will there be enough teams out there that would pay him? Like the Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles at the age that he is, got paid, right?
Yeah.
So,
which again, I wouldn't have done that. Yeah. I understand that. You know, I know. So, but no, we're in the era of like, you can't win unless you've sold your public that you have the quarterback. Yeah. That's what we are. We're in that era, right? You know, and even though like the Kansas City Chiefs are a defensive team for the last 2 years, it's still everybody just looks like they got Mahomes, right? And it's like, no, the defense has won 2 of the 3 games this year. Actually, they won all 3. The offense hasn't done any. I mean, they stopped the Ravens at the end. They stopped the Falcons at the end.
It was last year.
They had the strip sack fumble against the Bengals to pick up for a touchdown to win the game, right? I mean, so, you know, team sport, and we are caught in that. I just want to make sure I hit
Are they
it
the
all.
worst team? Are they the worst team? I think you did. Are they the worst team in the AFC South?
I don't.
I mean, talent-wise, no. You say no.
That's what's disheartening. But
but the way it's all fitting together.
Indy is weird because they have some things they do well offensively. It's just he's really inconsistent at quarterback, and their defense isn't very good. Yeah, right. That's what we're worried. So no, it's close between them and Indy, but either way, they shouldn't be in that conversation altogether. Here, last thing too.
Yep.
Okay, here it is. I told you about the stick routes, right? 3rd and 2, they run 3-yard routes. 3rd and 7, they run 8-yard routes, right? The other thing too that I think they need to do is put Brian Thomas Jr., who's clearly their best offensive player. Their best. Put him at X like the Bengals used to do with Jamar Chase. If you're going to run this type of West Coast offense, put him over there. If it's man-to-man, throw him the ball. If they have to play cover 2, then you have your concept on the other side. But that's where it's got to go, right? That, to me, is what they do. They have a few plays in the game where Gabe Davis is the X, and I want to go, Gabe Davis has never been open in his life. So why is he the X? The X is supposed to be the dangerous guy. Don't make him the X guy. I mean, if it's Gabe Davis and it's one-on-one, it's like, you have to throw a back shoulder. That's all there is. That's it. You got to throw a back shoulder because he's not going to run by anybody. So that has to change too. They got to figure some things out. They are in trouble. 20-3, throwing the football. And this is my last thing. I'm sorry. That interception on the deep crossing route, I mean, he's wide open. You can't miss that in that moment, right? That is my thing. And I wrote at the end of my notes here, he's got a big-time power arm. But as of right now, he's just an average passer. That's what it is. Yeah, he can throw it with power, but there's not enough variety in throws, releases, touch on the ball, timing, rhythm, all of that. It's just not good enough. And that's, to me, where, there's some flaws in his game.
It is trending in the wrong direction for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. It is trending in the right direction for the Eagles' defense, slowing down the high-powered Saints. Realistic takes as we head to pick 6 number 4. Damn okay to the Eagles' defense. What a total turnaround based off what they looked like the first 2 weeks. What did they do differently to stop the Saints offense, who looked so explosive to start the year? One thing I noticed was going to 5-man fronts on early downs.
100%. That's the first thing to write, right? You saw my first top of my note
Good job. Realistic takes.
Way to go. Is that it says Eagles bear front every play early on, even 6-man even fronts at times, where it's like nobody, the 6-man front is like nobody's on the center, and then there's 3 D linemen or some outside linebackers, but there's 3 defenders on each side of the ball there. So they came out with an attitude of like, wait, we're not going to be overpowered. We're going to stop the run. We're going to do that the first thing, right? Also, I think there is an element of, hey, they're getting used to Vic Fangio's defense. I saw them and some of their coverages start passing off things where I went, oh, man, this is when Vic Fangio is, to me, the king, the originator of the passing off people in coverages. I mean, he's one of those guys. That's why he's been an all-time great that way. But, yes, it started there. And then it started people at the line of scrimmage. And then it started with the greatest defensive performance I've seen from a defender this year in the NFL. Jalen Carter, just one for the homies out there. Jalen Carter was absolutely unreal. I mean, took over the game, and early on in the game was involved in 4 of every 5 plays, whether making the tackle, play up, being disruptive, whatever. It was an incredible performance by Jalen Carter.
Okay, so you look at this. So you've always been high on Jalen Carter coming out of the draft. You thought maybe he is the best player in the draft as a defensive tackle. Had some off-field issues, made him drop down to the 9 to the Eagles. We've seen that manifest itself a little bit where he's had some quarters or not starting because of off-the-field stuff. His first 2 weeks of the season, PFF graded him pretty poorly. Very good grade this past week. Why is he inconsistent?
It's a good question. I mean, one, their defense wasn't good in general by anybody in the first 2 weeks. I would have a hard time thinking anybody graded
by
very
association.
High. Right. So there's a little bit of that. It is a new system. They're learning that. I think it goes back to a little bit of our first question here by realistic takes and all of that. Was it realistic takes? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. Okay. The Jalen, I feel like in the first 2 weeks, and I didn't watch the total film from the first game. I saw a good amount in the second game. I do think that they asked him to 2-gap a little too much, right? And he can 2-gap. And for all those out there who, are going, wait, 2-gap, I haven't heard Sims explain that. 2-gap is like a 3-4 kind of thing. And it's wait, I'm going to hold the guy up, and I'm not really going to get upfield. I'm just going to hold him up. And then I'm responsible for the gap to my right and to my left. And when I see the ball carrier come there, I have to disengage with my guy and then get in that gap and make the tackle there, right? That's 2-gapping. This is one of the most athletic defensive tackles ever. Like, you can't do that too much with him. And this game, because of the 5- and 6-man fronts, they don't have to 2-gap as much. So they could just go, hey, right there between the guard and the tackle, just win right through there all day long. We don't want you to hold anybody up or do anything. Just run through that gap all day long and just cause chaos, right? Or you got this guy and there's no rules. Just get around him and get to the quarterback. Right. That to me, I think, is what changed in this football game. So there was no more of that. It was just like they unleashed the Kraken, right? And he was like, raw! I don't have to sit here and hold somebody up. I can just go.
You don't tell the Kraken to 2-gap.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to stand there just 2-gap.
No doubt. He wants to destroy, right? He wants to just run through things and destroy. And that's what he started to do. Let alone, like, he's the fastest 310-pound defensive tackle I've ever seen in my life. He's incredible, as we always talk about, bending, being awkward positions, all of that. And then he's got a great eyes into the backfield where he's not just like worried about the guy he's beating up front. He knows where the ball is and understands where it's going and has instincts that way. I mean, he took turns up Ruiz and Penning on the right side of their line. I mean, it was like he was like, here I come. I'm coming to kick your ass. Oh, hey, it's your turn. You've gotten the Jalen Carter lottery. I'm coming to kick your ass now. I mean, it was comical at times how badly he was beating him. It was amazing. Best defensive performance I've seen this year. Him and Dexter Lawrence, I think, when they play like that, are the best defensive tackles in football. Dexter is very consistent. Jalen, we need it to be more and more.
I mean, how bad it was for the first 2 weeks. I mean, they were allowing 6.4 rushing yards per carry.
Yeah.
That was the worst in the NFL.
Yeah.
And so, this is a complete turnaround from what they had been the first 2 weeks.
Total. They said you aren't going to run the ball. And then, even though we talked about the Saints and their play action, remember we showed the plays last week. They ran 3 of the same plays in the first 8 plays of the game, right? Not totally like mind-blowing concept. But when you run the ball, it puts teams in a bad spot. They said, we're going to stop the run, and we're going to let our secondary play soft, and we're not going to let any of these crazy play action passes beat us, let alone they're not. Like I said, this is where now Kubiak will have to go to the next step and go, I got to be a little more creative with the play action passes, because if we can't run, right, like teams are kind of all over the basic stuff there. I got to find some new ways to kind of find some plays off of that. And I think they were very comfortable with like the route combinations and some of that, Philadelphia, where, yeah, when they did do play action, you could tell they were looking in the right areas for where guys were going to come and how they were going to cross and all that, and really did a good job. But the big thing, too, Ahmed, is the Eagles they were foaming at the mouth at defense. You could tell it hit home after 2 lackluster performances. They were ready to go. I mean, Jordan Davis popped a lot. 93 Milton, he popped a lot. And also, I want to throw this out there because I'm going to mess up his name, and I just want to make sure.
You're talking about the linebacker?
Yeah.
Zach Baun.
Baun.
It was
yes.
This is what we overlooked when you were picking this game.
Yeah,
it was a revenge game for him.
Yeah.
Spent 4 years, drafted the 3rd round by the Saints back in 2020. Comes over to Philadelphia for the first time, starts all 3 games. You liked the linebacker, the former Saint, now Eagle.
It was personal, and he was a madman. Reading plays, flying through holes. I mean, they had a 4th down stop later in the game, right, where the Saints, again, I'm going, it's a field goal game, so let's kick field goals. What is everybody doing in this game? I don't know. But he made that play. Him and Brandon Graham, when they ran off the left side on the 20-yard line there on a 4th and 1, and I think it was early 4th quarter. So he was great. That's why Milton Williams and then Moro Ojomo, the Texas defensive linemen, they popped a lot as well. I mean, there was a fire underneath the ass of the Philadelphia Eagles front 7. That was for sure. And they could not, as in the Saints, could not get in any rhythm whatsoever. And other than that 15-play, 15-play, 54-yard drive to get the field goal early in the game, I mean, until the 4th quarter, I'm telling you, they couldn't do anything other than that.
Can they keep it going? At the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're 2.5-point favorites in that game.
Yes, they can keep it going.
Life should be tough for Baker Mayfield and company.
It should, and the Bucs are going to be a team that's motivated too this week, because they're going to go, man, we laid an egg last week. We kind of played like, hey, we're 2-0, we beat the Lions in Detroit. We're going to – the Broncos with rookie quarterback, they fell in the trap. They won't be able to fall in the trap this week. This is going to be interesting to see. I just want to make sure. I think I hit most of it, but I thought Jalen Hurts played really well. I did kind of newsreel that part of it. Saquon Barkley special. But the defense altogether, I think, was amazing. And Jalen Carter, like I said, I think that's the best defensive game I've seen anybody play this year.
Saints will try to bounce back at Atlanta. They are 1.5-point underdogs against the fighting Kirk Cousins there in ATL. All right, we got to take a break. But coming up, the Ravens got an identity. They got a run game. What did they do there specifically? Plus 2 stats and a lie. Can Chris or you at home identify when I lie? I rarely lie.
You rarely do.
I will do it in the next
You're good
segment.
at it, though.
All right. Welcome back to Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement, and the Ravens know running the football. At least they have in the past with Lamar Jackson. Looks like at a couple crucial times they've gotten away from that. Playoffs last year, early on this year.
Definitely.
They did not get away from it against the Dallas Cowboys. The real D Spade says, was the Ravens O-line good on the right side, or is the Cowboys D-line just horrible? So,
is that really David Spade? Is that who that is?
He's the real D
Spade.
It might be. I'm not going to discredit the handle. So yeah, you want to take a closer look too. Like what did they do exactly?
Yeah.
How bad are the Cowboys?
Right.
But yeah, what did you see? What's your headline from the Ravens run game here?
Well, one of our themes of our podcast always is you got to be great at something, right? You got to be great at something to bend or force the hand of the defense for them to defend that, and then it opens up offense all around. And to me, they were kind of like, last year they were in the justification of Lamar's contract, and we got a rookie receiver and Todd Monken, and we want to justify that more than we want to really play the way we're meant to play. right? I'm sure Lamar is getting up there in age a little bit to where he doesn't want to run the ball like he did as much in the first 2 years of his career. I understand that. So there's that aspect too. But they're still built to be that physical, brute team that just runs it down your throat. They got offensive linemen that are like that. And as I said on Sunday Night Football this week, you got a bunch of 320-pound linemen, and you have the greatest running quarterback in the history of football. Drop back pass game should not be the number one thing you do. I'm sorry. Lamar's really good at it, not great at it. He can be great at it when they run the ball the way they run, or they did this past week. So that to me is the biggest thing. And yeah, week 1, there was way too much on Lamar. Week 2, again, it was the same thing. It was like, we'll run a little this drive, we'll throw this drive. And it's like, oh yeah, well, you're losing to the Raiders now. You're going to lose because you're not really great at anything. So I'm glad they did this. Now, hopefully they did this because they realize this is the best way for us to play, coupled with that the Dallas stinks on the D-line, right? As we all know, and I've been telling everybody, like you said the other day, for a year and a half. I mean, there's just nothing special in the middle of that defense. But start the game with edge runs and quarterback runs because they knew Dallas was going to be, oh, no, we couldn't stop them run last week, and now Baltimore's coming to town. We're not going to be able to stop them run this week, right? So they were worried about it. And so that was a great just change up right off the bat to kind of give inside run looks and then get on the edge because Dallas was going to overplay like we're not going to get overpowered by the Ravens, right? That was great. Dallas's defense, they got to change because there's some line alignments, so let alone we'll get into the personnel in a minute. In some of these plays, I want to go, they can't stop this play even if they play it right. Like, you can't, like, cover 4 basic defense with the way they motioned and now pulled a guard and have somebody else pull it. It's like, you don't have enough people there. You have to reevaluate your attack on defense. Again, they need to attack a little bit rather than we're going to play sound and all be in the right places. No, some of these offenses are too good and creative. If you're just too stagnant, you're going to be wrong every time is what I'm going to say. And you've heard me say that. Did a good job of mixing inside and outside run. A lot of runs that started out looking the same, that were different, right? That is big. Something. They had a lot of zigs for their zags is what I want to say. Hey, 2 pulling guards, we're going to hand it to the running back. 2 pulling guards, we're going to fake it to the running back. Lamar's going to keep it around the edge. 2 pulling guards, right? We're going to fake it to the running back. And now Lamar's going to follow the running back and go along that way instead of the opposite way like the time before. So they have a little bit of everything there. And that's what I was big on and what they did. They really tied their offense together for the first time. And that's where I thought it was good. Even with some of the screens, they tied in the run concepts with it. Screens, some of them are real screens, some of them are RPO screens. But either way, it's going to be a problem for defenses. And that's what I thought was a really great job by Todd Monken and the Ravens offense.
I mean, there's really no other way to do this than a combo platter of Ravens good, Cowboys bad, because Derrick Henry, I mean, he went off 25 carries, 151 yards. He had 12 total missed tackles. That is the second most by any player in a game this season. I would have thought that's the most. I don't know which running back has forced more missed tackles than that. There just are not enough dudes on the Dallas Cowboys.
That's it.
You said there may be 2.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons and DeMarvion Overshown.
DeMarvion Overshown from Texas, who's in his second year, they pop on film. Now, Overshown's a little raw still, and I think that's why he's not in there all the time. But he makes plays, and he creates chaos. And I would say on Dallas, there's nobody else that does that on their defense other than Micah. I mean, that's it. And, of course, what my thoughts about their D tackles. I mean, it is they might as well wear skates in the game because they get moved around like they're on ice, and there's no problem. The other middle linebackers not named Overshown, barely ever show up in the football game. DeMarcus Lawrence is definitely not as dominant as he used to be. So all of that. They can't stop the run. They're too simple. And then they can't play man coverage. That's a tough combo. When you can't stop the run, you'd love to load the box and go, wait, let's trust our corners on the edge. But they can only trust Trayvon Diggs. They can't trust the rookie out there with Deron Bland being hurt right now. So that's an issue. And, I think with that and then the Ravens having an attitude of like, hey, screw you. we're going to run the ball, and how they tied it together and the zigs and the zags like I talked about were really tough. The other thing I would say is, hey, this is the way it should be with Lamar. I know we want to protect our investment and do all that, but Lamar is who he is, and we all love him because of his running ability. And that's one of the greatest things he brings, and it's one of the greatest attributes he can bring to the offense that stresses defenses out. I am a little bit sick of this, hey, he's a really good running quarterback. We're going to pay him, and now we're not going to run him anymore. And I want to be like, well, man, this is why you're paying him, though. All of a sudden, we're going to pay him and then not do what we got him paid for, and then we're going to hurt the team and change the way we played the team. That's got to stop. That's got to stop. If you're going to pay him and he's a running quarterback, then he's got to run once he gets paid. Okay, that's the way to, unless he starts to show me he can be like Steve Young and throw for 75% and just tear you up in the West Coast or passing game all game long. Until then, no, we got to run him, and that's where I like that too.
But here's the question.
Yes,
who's faster, him or Micah?
Oh, you saw that.
Yeah, I did see that.
Micah is so fast. Yeah. Micah's acceleration I would put up there with almost anybody in the sport other than Tyreek Hill, Jameson Williams. I mean, the elite guys.
You know a team that needs an explosive running back?
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
Imagine giving the ball one time.
Give him a toss, sweet.
I'd love to see what happens.
But yeah, Lamar at one time kept the ball in a read option around the edge, and Micah kind of bit on the run fake, right? Got stuck inside, and it's like, oh shit, he kept it. He's running around the edge. He turned it on. Lamar had the corner, the edge, the step, all of it, and he got 6 yards because Micah is just an incredible athlete that way. Incredible. And that's not to say anything about Lamar's speed. Lamar's speed's real. I've seen Micah on social media run 10 back, 10 back, 10 back, and he beats Jamar Chase. So this is, again, a special person. Ravens underneath the center. I really like that. It's a nice blend. It's going to serve them well in the future. It's going to open up real play action passes down the field. I said about the wide receiver game. I think I've hit it all. Do you think I hit it all? I just want to make sure.
Looks like it.
Okay.
Here. Yep. All right. I like that. So
Justin Tucker is a concern.
That he is. He's not making the long field goals anymore.
It's 28-6.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 49-yard field goal. The game's over if you hit it. It's over. And to not be able to put it away, rely on the greatest kicker of all time right now, that is a little concerning there. But my thing to the Ravens is keep playing like this, and all the sexy pass plays and everything will come. Just stay with this. Make teams bend to this. And then everything else you want to be and justify Lamar's contract and the receivers and all that, it's all going to come, and it's going to be unstoppable. And I hope that's the case. I hope they stick with it.
It's going to be a fun one Sunday night. Ravens, Bills, 2.5-point favorites are the Ravens in that one. Cowboys taking on the Giants. We saw that's 5.5 or 6 right now. We'll get to both those games a second here in the Buzz Watch for Week 4. But now our final of the Pick 6, 2 stats and a lie. So this is where I went through some different websites. I was like, what are some stats that interest me? And maybe they'll interest Chris, too. And so I picked 3 of them, and then Pete has turned 1 into a lie. So 2 of these are truthful, and 1 is the lie.
Okay.
We'll see if you can identify.
All right. I'm not looking at anything.
Okay. All right, good. We kind of blacked it out. So maybe
okay.
Pete, you can unblack them here so I can see them here.
Right.
So here are the stats. First, the Saints are tied with the Ravens for the most explosive runs in the NFL this season. So that's 1.
Okay.
Number 2, the Panthers' O-line has allowed the least amount of pressures this season. That's number 2. Number 3, the Vikings are not blitzing at the highest rate this season. So 2 of those are truthful. 1 is a lie. Can you identify one of the 2 truths?
The 2-1, the second one with the Panthers' least amount of pressures.
Yes.
It's like one of those where you want to go, that can't be true, but it might be.
Because why would I put it in? Right?
I'm gonna pull.
This is on the O-line too, as Pete notes. This is on quarterback-induced pressures.
I'm gonna go with. I think number 1 is a lie.
You're absolutely right. The Saints, it's false. The Packers
I was gonna
and
say,
the Ravens have the most explosive runs this season.
Saints have had a lot of good 5 and 8 and 10-yard runs, but not the explosive ones. The Packers have been ripping them off. Not that the Packers would have been in my thoughts of team that you would have said for sure.
The team with the fewest so far this year?
Hold on, give me a second. Let me pull up the teams.
Only 2.
Only 2? The fewest explosive runs?
They have 2.
So they only have 2.
So the Packers and Ravens both have 20, and that's 10 or more yards, according to PFF. This team has 2.
Like 10 or more is explosive
10
run?
or more is explosive.
Okay. Hold on. Hold your horses there. There's a part of me that wants to say the Dallas Cowboys.
I would have thought that too. It's not the Cowboys, although I feel like they're probably right next to this team.
The Chicago Bears.
It's not the Bears.
Damn.
It is the Rams.
Ooh.
The Rams only have 2 runs of 10 or more yards.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So far.
That makes sense.
But you're right. The Panthers' O-line has allowed the least number of pressures this season, only on 12% of pass plays. What do you make of that?
Well, it's some of the things you've heard me say. It's lack of aggressive decision-making by the quarterback that was in there, right? The pocket's fine, but he just kind of not feeling it and doesn't have confidence to push the ball down the field or make anything happen that way. Hey, their tackles have been good. They spent money on some big-time guards. I would expect them to be better in that department. Now, if they can continue to be Andy Dalton, throw the ball down the football field too, I think they'll start to run the ball on people a little bit as well. So we'll see where that goes. But, yeah, that's kind of a shocking one, and it is a little bit, again, another kind of indictment on Bryce Young without really, saying his name there.
Drake May is sitting, and maybe for good reason, because the Patriots at the other end of the spectrum have been allowed pressures on 44% of pass plays, worst in the NFL.
Yeah, well, those are something we worried about, right? Yeah. And that's why they're gonna try to rely on the run and make games ugly and play that way. And I think that's also another reason why, yes, it's good Drake May's not in there. Let them try to get that a little bit better first before they throw him out there and get his head knocked off.
And it is true, the Vikings are not blitzing at the highest rate in the NFL this season. They are number 2 at 51%. Do you know team number 1?
Well, I saw it by accident.
Okay, that's all right.
So the Broncos,
would you have guessed the Broncos?
I would not. I would not have guessed the Broncos.
57% of the time.
Yeah. That would not have been my pick there. That side of the ball, I'm interested. I'm going to try to watch the Broncos defense versus the Bucs a little bit, because what I was intrigued by really is one, the Bucs offense. I'm not sold on it yet. Mm-hmm. I'm not. They played Washington week 1, and okay, great. Week 2, it really was just a few plays they made.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
It was not consistent drives or you went, ooh, the offense has really got it. They're kind of a big play reliant team. And as I said to you on Sunday night, I said, I don't know what Denver did, but I know that Tampa was trying to attack downfield, and there was nothing there, and they never got in a rhythm. And that does worry me about Tampa a little bit as we go here.
Yeah, for sure. All right, good job identifying my lie, my
buddy.
fib. We finish with this, the Buzz Watch for week number 4. This just gives everyone out there, this is teams that have the biggest opportunity to create the biggest buzz this next week when it's all said and done. These are not predictions, but what we do for you is we give you the buzz before the buzz. It's like, I kind of saw that coming. Last week, none of our Buzz Watches panned out, so those teams lost an opportunity to make a buzz. Unfortunately for them.
Yeah. Well, we did bring up if the Vikings beat the Texans. We brought it up, even though it wasn't your initial.
It was Texans beating the Vikings, but you were like, but I think it'd be a big buzz if the Vikings beat the Texans.
And you agreed.
I did agree.
We were on it, but you got to pick one. You can't pick each, both teams in each game.
Hey,
that
you can go either way. We're just saying that's a missed opportunity for all these teams to not create the buzz. All right, number 3 this week for me. The Giants beat the Cowboys at MetLife. Now, unfortunately for you and Pete, the buzz will focus mostly on the Cowboys and how far they're going to fall and what's the floor for this team. You'll be like, come on, give some credit to the Giants here. You won't get the credit.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll be cool with that. We'll lie in the weeds at 2-2 and be like, hey, things are on the up and up. We should be 3-1, but we're 2-2, and that's all right. We don't need the overall America buzz. We're good with just a little buzz here in the tri-state area.
I like that. All right, so number 2, Sunday Night Football. I'm saying the Bills have an opportunity to create a lot of buzz here. Not that the Ravens wouldn't with a win here, but I think the Bills really can.
Right.
And the talk of them perhaps being the best team in the NFL will start to surface here.
Right.
Josh Allen, who Pete notes here, already has the top spot in the early MVP odds.
I don't think it's even close.
That will continue to grow for him. So the Bills have buzz potential this week with their performance.
Yes. I mean, again, Josh Allen right now is nobody's playing as good as Josh Allen, a quarterback. I mean, he's unstoppable. It doesn't matter. Surgicality, backyard, he does does what he wants, when he wants, however he wants to do it. Josh Allen is one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of football. Like, there's no doubt about that. People who are saying otherwise, they're just, I don't know what else you're watching. I don't. And here's the other thing I want to talk about, too, on top of that. Like, he made the comments after the game, right, about, and Pete, maybe you could get the exact quote, but basically like, hey, it's good that we got a team that's just all worried about winning. We got nobody that's worried about their stats, right? Ooh. Everybody tried to make it like a thing on Stephon Diggs, okay? Well, my first thing is he's telling the truth about his team, that, hey, they're selfless, right? And, hey, one thing I'll say, they were a little bit of I had to see it to believe it. That, man, the O-line is playing unbelievable. They can run the ball. They can protect all day. They got a nice little formula with these tight ends and Khalil Shakir, and they're working their rookie receiver into the mix here slowly but surely. A lot of respect to Joe Brady, who looks like his offense has expanded since his kind of failure with the Carolina Panthers, which is awesome to see, right? But I mean, Josh Allen is the thing that makes that go. And he, of course, is why he puts teams in a bind that way. But he says that, and I see everybody on TV trying to go, whoa, Stephon Diggs needs to respond. Respond about what? Even if he was referring to Stephon Diggs, it's the truth. There's we all know Stephon Diggs was mad in Minnesota and wanted out because he wanted stats in the ball more. He was causing problems in Buffalo because he wanted stats and he wanted the ball more. This isn't like hypothesis or who we think this is happening. This is like everybody in football knows. So like, what are people talking about? He needs to respond. I mean, stop. And as you see, Stephon Diggs is the number 2 receiver on the Texans. The number 1 receiver is Nico Collins. Hear that? That's that there.
Oh, no.
There
it's
it is.
Happening. It's
got
happening.
Me going.
We got the quote. Pete's got the quote. After the win, Josh Allen said, quote, that's the beauty of it when guys get to buy into this and really understand, like, I may not get the ball 4 or 5 times thrown to me a game, but the 1 or 2 times I do, I'm going to have opportunities to be in the end zone. It's fun and wonderful thing when you have a bunch of guys that don't care about the stats. They don't care about the touchdowns, like Stephon Diggs did previously when he was here. I added that last part, but that would have made it more clear if he just would have said that. So the Bills have buzz potential, but I think a little bit more buzz potential. There's one other team that actually could have a little bit more buzz if they can perform on Monday Night Football in Detroit. The Seattle Seahawks get the win, improved to 4-0, and now there's serious discussions. They're beginning. Are they the new favorite to win the NFC West? As we sit here right now, the 49ers are still the favorite, but Seattle's not far behind at plus 190.
No, well, I mean, they've shown the ability to be explosive on offense. We've talked about they look like they're going to be able to run the ball this year, which is encouraging, and I hope Kenneth Walker can get back healthy here soon. Yeah. And we know the Mike McDonald defense is going to be a pain in the ass. And the 49ers are obviously not clicking on all cylinders here. I would agree. That would be a big. I think you're not wrong with this. This would be the buzz of the weekend if they come out of Detroit beating the Lions, which I think you're writing this here to write it not into existence and
hopefully
jinx them.
We have the same performance as we did last week with the buzz.
Exactly. I think you're smart enough to do that actually. But I would say you're correct, and that would be a huge story. Now, hey, they've been a little lucky. Bo Nix, week 1. Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots, week 2. No Tua and the Dolphins, week 3. So this will be a good test to just go, wait, how good actually are they? They've been a little favorable with the schedule. It'll be interesting to see how they play.
All right, that's it. We closed the book.
We did
it.
On the
Buzz Watch, the pick 6. We've thrown our interceptions, and now we're done.
We're all done. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm enjoying this new pick 6 format. Please continue to send in the questions on social media, on YouTube.
Comment.
We love that. The comments right on YouTube. Tomorrow's the week 4 picks with Florio. Ahmed will be going to where the hell are you going
Penn
this
State.
weekend? We got a lot of college games this weekend, so I wasn't sure which one you were going to be at.
A big game, top 20 matchup. Illinois, who's better this year.
Yep, big game. Right,
State.
We got a full slate in college football this weekend. We got Louisville at Notre Dame, Ohio State at Michigan State, and Illinois at Penn State. You'll see me and Ahmed all over that stuff on Peacock and on NBC this weekend. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Check out the Picks Pod with Florio tomorrow. My man, thank you as always for driving the ship. I'll see you Sunday night.
Deal.
Okay? Deal.
Oh, yeah.
See you there.
Dun, 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 dun.
See? He'll be there. I just wanted to update that. All right, everybody. Peace out, homies. Clap it up. Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Sims Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.